Hey guys, all right, so what we're gonna be talking about is a conversation I recently had with another respectable coach. She'll know who she is, and it's about the squat jerk. All right, squat jerk is one of those faux pas in weightlifting or one of those fun things people like to do. So it's kind of hit or miss whether coaches do it or not. I personally got engaged in this conversation with her because people were talking about, do we do it, do we not, is it good? And I've recently been using it for some of my athletes to solve a few problems. I do not switch them over to the squat jerk as a competitive means, but rather as a training developmental tool. All right, so squat jerk done looks like this, just as a refresher, or if you're new to weightlifting. It's in a jerk frame, all right, we're racked, we're in the same posture, everything, and then she's gonna dip, drive, and drop under the bar, falling into the bottom, okay? Now, this movement requires a high level of balance. It also requires a lot of postural balance. All right, so what I mean by that is not only is the balance when she's overhead at the bottom, Trace, let's go to the bottom, but down there she has to balance, but also, come on up, while she's dipping and driving, there cannot be any leaning or tilting forward, okay? When you're doing this, all right, the reason I use it is I want my athletes to understand that the stack has to be nice and stacked on top of itself. A lot of times, an athlete's what they'll do is they dip and they shift and tilt their torsos forwards, backwards, all right? They lean back, they push away. So what happens is they direct the bar a different direction. The squat jerk, because of the nature of it, and Callie, if you can go from a side angle here, and don't be too far away, okay? You can see Tracy's bar literally has to go straight down and straight up, all right? If she pushes that away at all, it's gonna go ahead and push her or pull her forward because the weight is in control. You know? So this movement also is going to reinforce how we land, okay? Another thing that is really important and we see, and Tracy can chime in after this next little babble that I do, is athletes will dip and drive uncontrollably in their feet. They don't pay attention to the dip. They let their knees shift forward, they lose their heels down, and then when they go to drive aggressively, they're so focused on the upright drive, they don't ever pay attention to how they're landing in their feet, so then they are too far forward, or they're coming down toes or ball of the foot first into the heel, and that rocks the lift all over the place, where again, this movement, it's so unforgiving. When she dips and drives, I'm gonna make you do one more before you give your opinions on this lift, so they can see the heels. You've got to jump out and be in control of your landing while also maintaining upper pressure into the bar. So again, lots of balance. You can set that down. Any opinions you want to add to the squat jerk or how we've used it to help people?
I will say when you have someone starting out, if they have limited mobility overhead and they have poor scap activation in terms of keeping their upper back braced, you can play around with having their grip slightly wider with these. If they don't have the mobility for a normal jerk grip, you can bring them out slightly somewhere between their snatch and jerk grip, and then as they go, as they progress, and they're using the movement and it's opening them up, and they're keeping better tension, then you can slowly bring that grip in towards their jerk grip a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely don't send somebody with like bad range of motion into doing these. But if you definitely have an athlete, let's see, that has issues with the landing and not being balanced in their feet, definitely utilize these as a drill. Another one is upward pressure, that big upward pressure we have to follow through. Yeah. All right, that's a huge one. Okay, this lift, because of the balance, it requires that you remain upright and active into the bar throughout the whole range of motion.
And if I have an athlete who likes to let up on this upper back tension a little bit in their dip and drive, I will use this as a precursor to their jerks. So I'll have them warm up with some squat jerks, which are obviously very unforgiving in terms of the second they let up on this tension in the upper back, the bar drifts, right? So it helps them to follow through harder when they actually go to jerk within that session.
All right, try these out. I hope you guys like them, and hopefully they help.